everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a dupe video. I'm going to be doing one eye for each for you guys. So I have the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette and I also have the Bad Habit Cult Mania palette. And this is the palette they are duping right here. Super, super pretty. This does retail for $125, whereas this one is $24. So which eye is which? Let me know your guesses down below. Am I wearing the Pat McGrath on the right side? Like, which palette am I wearing on each eye? Leave your guesses down in the comments section below. But yeah, I'm going to be doing one eye for each, reviewing this Bad Habits palette for you guys. And if that is something that you would like to watch, then just continue watching. Also, I do want to mention that I do have an international holiday giveaway, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely check that out. It will be a link down below. And yeah, if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe, and let's just go ahead and jump right in. For the Bad Habit palette, you do get 10 shadows, and then this palette does retail for $24. The box is the same as like the packaging. It has like a really nice feel to it, just like the other Bad Habit palettes. It kind of has like the NARS packaging feel. You get 0.63 ounces. You could get this on the Hush app that does retail for $24. I did redeem $12 of Hush points. Hush points are just some points that you get once you log into the app every single day. It kind of gives you from like 1 point to 50 points. It just depends on the day and like what the app feels like giving to you guys. I actually logged in today and it gave me 18 points, and that's pretty much like cents. And I had $12 worth of points accumulated or saved up, and I just redeemed it for this. So again, this palette is $24 minus the $12 that I redeemed, so I paid $12 for this palette, which is a great deal. I would definitely recommend you guys like downloading the Hush app and like logging in every day. It takes like 5 seconds to get in, get your points, and get out. But this is a cardboard packaging. You do get a magnetic closure, which I do see that all of the Bad Habit palettes do have. And then you also do get a mirror, and then you get this. It kind of gives you a little information on this little sheet, which is different. This is the first Cult palette that I picked up, and I actually got another one of these Cult palettes because I didn't think I would invest in another Pat McGrath palette because they are $125. But this is the one that's supposed to be a dupe to the Bronze Seduction palette, which I feel like this has been going out of stock a lot on the Sephora app and also on the Pat McGrath site. So I'm going to start off with sharing you guys with some swatches before I jump into using both palettes on each eye. So I do want to share with you guys, again, I'll be inserting some swatches. The top row is the Pat McGrath palette and the bottom row is the Bad Habit Cult Mania palette. Off the bat, I can tell that the lightest shades are different. In the Pat McGrath, the color is more gold, whereas in the Cult Mania, it's more like a pinkish tone. And also the darker brown that's in this palette is Bad Habit palette is not as dark as the one in the Pat McGrath palette. But other than that, all the other shades are very creamy, very buttery. I haven't put these on my eyes yet, but just by swatching them, this formula is definitely different from other Bad Habit palettes that they have come out with. And I was just looking at this little clear protector sheet right here, and it says, "Welcome to Mania. These 10 shadow features 2 unique formulas, 6 luxuriously smooth pressed powder shades, and 4 silky baked powder shades infused with a dash of cream." And I can tell a difference by swatching them compared to the other Bad Habit palettes that I do have. Like, I have the Inferno and I have the Dupe for Subculture as well. And I also do have the Desert Dusk palette dupe as well, the Athena palette. And just by swatching these, I haven't even used them on my eyes, I can tell a difference on the quality of the shadows. And which is probably why these are a little more expensive than the other palettes, because these palettes do retail for $24, whereas the other ones, I think they range from like 10 to 15 around there. It's I think like 12, but I'm just saying like 12 to 15 because they're all like different prices. But just by swatching them, I would definitely recommend you guys picking up this palette because there's not very much of a big difference besides 2 shades. It's more affordable. Of course, the Pat McGrath is $125, whereas the Cult Mania is $24. Again, just by swatching them, I'm already recommending you guys getting the Bad Habit palette. You're going to get the same effect as the Pat McGrath by swatching. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to do the Bad Habit Cult Mania on my right eye, and then the Pat McGrath palette on my left eye. I'm not going to do something very, very bold or apply lashes and go all out because I do have a hair appointment and I don't want to go all out just for my hair appointment. And I am going to be taking the same brush on both eyes, and I'm just going to be wiping it off to use the same shade again on both eyes and the same brush. So the first color I'm going to take is the light brown shade, which is called Volatile. And I'm just taking a fluffy brush, and off the bat I can already see there's a lot of kickback. I did notice in my Pat McGrath palette that they don't have very much kickback at all. And let me go ahead and show you. This one right here, my Pat McGrath did not have as much kickback as all. That's something that I really liked about the palette when I first used it. When the first time I used it, I just thought it was nice to not have kickback, especially since it's so expensive. Like, I definitely want to use every single gram that I do have in the Pat McGrath. But it's blending out nicely. It's applying good. I don't see really any issues, and the color is very beautiful as well. So for the Pat McGrath side, I'm going to take... Oh, a downside of the Pat McGrath palette that I don't like is that you get the names of these shades in this like plastic sheet, and I don't really like that. But I'm going to take this shade called Entrapment, and I did wipe off my brush already. And I'm just going to apply this in my crease as well. And I don't know what's going on, but I do remember that there wasn't very much kickback in the Pat McGrath. And right now I do have kickback, which is kind of different. Look at that. So I guess I take back what I said about no kickback, because there is kickback. I am noticing that a little bit of the Pat McGrath goes a long way, because as you can see, it's already, I feel like it's already darker than this side is. The next shade in the Bad Habit palette I'm going to take is the dark brown shade right here, which is called Madness. And I'm just taking this Morphe M535 brush. And on this one, there's not kickback. I feel like this one, this is a BH Cosmetics brush, and I feel like it's starting to get a little scratchy. So that's probably why there is kickback in the first shade, because I don't remember them being kickback in the Pat McGrath. So I feel like this is kind of like scratching the shadow, but who knows. And then I'm going to wipe it off and take this shade called Disobedient with the same brush. See, yeah, because I'm like dipping my brush in this one and there's no kickback either. This shade right there. So I feel like it's that brush. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that shade in my crease as well. For not wanting to be super intense, I feel like this look is getting pretty intense in my crease. So the Pat McGrath, the darker brown, the Disobedient shade is darker, as you can see in my crease, than the Madness shade in the Bad Habit Cult Mania palette. And I did also notice that in my swatches that it didn't swatch as deep as the Pat McGrath one did. So I'm just going to go ahead and build up that color so they kind of match. But from both of these, I actually like how this one looks better. I don't know, like I just like that they're kind of blending in together because they're not such like different shades. I am noticing that the Bad Habit like a little bit goes a long way, like especially with the dark brown. Whereas this one, I do have to build it up. But again, the shades don't really match like spot on, but building up is not a big issue. Like on this Pat McGrath, I feel like it kind of applied a little too much, where I'm having a little bit of difficulty to blend it out just because it's a little more pigmented, and I probably went in with my brush a little more heavy-handed than I did in the Cult Mania, but still I think both of the sides are pretty. I just feel like this side is blending out a little better. Now what I'm going to take is the shade called Delirium, this like pinkish color right there, and I'm going to apply that to my lid. I do notice that this color is kind of like creamy, so you should probably be careful when applying this color onto your lid. I also did notice that I had fallout with the glitter shades on the Pat McGrath palette, so I wonder if I should be applying like a glitter glue or something, but we're gonna go ahead and just apply this onto the lid. I keep dipping my brush in there just because I feel like I'm not grabbing a lot, but it's building up good. It's really pretty. I'm gonna try to take my finger and just apply. Look how metallic this looks. This is so beautiful. I'm just gonna tap it onto my lid. That's pretty. And I'm gonna take the same brush, clean it off, and go in with the shade called Rose Gold. I've used this color before, and it's not as creamy as the shade in that one. This one's more like of a glitter, I feel. So I'm just gonna go with my finger because this color for sure is not as creamy as the one in the Bad Habit, but it's still as beautiful. So I'm just going to tap that onto my lid. And I got it in my crease. So looking close up, both of them look really nice. I feel like this one looks more like not as thick as this side does, because this felt like more like a cream, whereas this one's more like a shadow with a lot of glitter in it. It's still pretty, but let me go ahead and apply more. I do have fallout, so I'm trying to dust that off. I did notice that like with the Pat McGrath glitters, like you get fallout, so you have to wear a glitter glue. And now I'm just gonna take the purple in both palettes. In this one, I'm taking the shade called Insomnia right there. And in my swatch, I did notice that the Pat McGrath purple was deeper than this one in the Bad Habit. And again, there is kickback on that shade. But we're gonna apply this in the outer corners right here. I really love the purple in the Pat McGrath. That was so pretty. Like, I just love all the shades in there. But right now that I'm using both of them, I feel like it's pretty much like this Bad Habit palette is pretty close. It's like a couple hairs off, but not a big difference for you guys to spend $100 more on the Pat McGrath if you can't afford it. So I'm going to go into the purple shade, and this one doesn't have any fallout. And it's called Extreme Aubergine. And I'm just going to apply this on the outer corners right here again. So close up, I do see that the Pat McGrath is darker, like the purple shade, whereas this one's not as dark. I'm just going to apply a little more on this side to see if I can deepen it up a little more. Yeah, both are really pretty though, but yeah, it's definitely not as deep as this purple one is. And I'm going to take another shade. I'm going to take the red color. I'm going to go in with the shade called Outrage. And I'm going to apply it like over here. I'm just going to tap it on. That's so pretty. And now I'm going to wipe this off again and go in with the shade called Blitz Fame, which is also the red in the Pat McGrath. And also tap it on right there. So both of the reds are very, very pretty. This one's more of a metallic red compared to the other one. I don't know, like, look at them side by side right there. Like, the reds in the Bad Habit, it just looks a little more intensely than in the Pat McGrath. But they're really pretty. Both of them are pretty. I just feel like the Bad Habit one, it's more like metallic. It's more metallic-y than the one on the Pat McGrath one is, but they're both still pretty. So I'm just going to go in with the purple shade again and apply it on my under eyes right here, the outer third, and do the same thing with Insomnia, the purple over here. And I'm going to take one more shade, and I'm going to take the lightest shade in the palette, which is called Somatic, this one, and apply it to my brow bone. In the swatches, this one looked more pinky tone than the one in the Pat McGrath. Wipe it off and go in with the same one on this side. So I didn't want to really go that intense makeup, but it looks like it kind of just turned out that way. On the eyes, they kind of look the same. I don't really see a difference. There is so much glitter fallout on my cheeks. That's the only thing that I noticed about the Pat McGrath, that the glitters, they fall out. So you definitely need glitter glue, which I probably should have just did that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply mascara and lashes off of camera, and I'll be right back and let you guys know what I think about this Cult Mania palette. Alright, so my final thoughts. Let's look up closely. I did notice while I was applying my liner and mascara that the Bad Habit side is really, really intense, like more metallic-y than the Bad Habit side is. And it just feels like it's a little more chunkier than the Pat McGrath also, but I don't think it's like a bad thing or anything like that. What do you guys think of the final look? Are you more of the Cult Mania side where it's like a little more intense, more metallic, or are you more like the Pat McGrath side where it's kind of like intense but not as intense as Bad Habit side is? For every day, I think I would use like the Pat McGrath side, but I would use this side like more metallic every day also. I like both of them. The reds that I used, I prefer the Cult Mania one because I just think it's more like, I don't know, more intense, I think it's prettier than this side is. But overall, this Cult Mania palette is definitely a really, really close dupe to the Pat McGrath palette. When I ordered this Cult Mania palette, I also ordered this Cult Mystere palette. And this is one that I wanted from Pat McGrath, but I'm like, I'm not really going to use all those shades like every day for $125. So now that I've tried the Cult Mania, I'm very excited to use this palette right here because is the formula the same as the Cult Mania, I'm gonna love this palette. And now I don't have to spend $125 for the Pat McGrath one. But overall, I do like the Pat McGrath palette, and I also do like the Cult Mania, so I would definitely recommend you guys picking up the dupe if you guys cannot afford the OG Pat McGrath palette. It's definitely expensive. I definitely thought 2, 3, 4 times before I bought it, but I really, really, really wanted it. So you can always count on Bad Habit and Hush app to give you guys some dupes to very popular high-end palettes. But overall, definitely recommend you guys picking this up if you guys want a very close dupe to this Bronze Seduction palette. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! I'm not sure how long I had lipstick on my teeth, but there you go.